All right, everyone, I think we're going to go ahead and get this show on the road. But welcome to our January installment of the Wolfpack Wellness Power Lunch series. Really excited to start off 2021 with none other than Naomi Matley, who's the coordinator of fitness for wellness and recreation. Naomi is extremely knowledgeable about all things fitness and wellness, so it's going to be a really great presentation today. But in case you don't know me, my name is Katie Blusa. I'm coordinator of wellness programs here at NC State and at Wellness and Recreation. And like I said, we're super excited to have you on board today. Naomi's going to have a presentation for us, and then afterwards I'll send a follow-up email with the slides, the recording, and resources. So hopefully you walk away from today with a little bit more knowledge about how to find your fit. And so I am going to read Naomi's bio real quick so you can kind of get to know a little bit about who she is, and then she's going to go ahead and share her screen. But Naomi joined the Wellness and Recreation team in June of 2019 after completing her Master's of Health Education and Promotion and Higher Education Leadership, that's long, from the University of Cincinnati. And she also worked as a fitness and wellness graduate assistant when she was there. She received her bachelor's in exercise science and psychology from Wingate University, where she also played collegiate soccer for 4 years. She's worked in cardiac rehabilitation, Olympic weightlifting, and youth soccer settings. And when she's not at the gym, you'll find her playing ice hockey with her brothers. And she's also really, really passionate about teaching students. So Nate, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, I'm going to go over our Zoom rules real quick, and then I'm going to hand it over so y'all can stop listening to my voice. All right. Wonderful. So this is all about finding your fit with wellness and recreation. You know, we know new year, we have resolutions, we have goals, right? And they tend to be very fitness focused oftentimes. So that is kind of what today is about in a nutshell. So that's the quick version. So we can go ahead to the next slide, and just a quick guide. If I'm sure we are all well adjusted to Zoom by now, but just try to keep your microphone muted. We do welcome you to use the chat box. I'm going to be moderating that through our session. You can also use the hand raise feature if you'd like, but let's just try to be fully present, respect the floor, allow others to engage. And we always like to say, don't yuck someone's yum, which means, you know, if somebody really likes something, it's not really your thing, that's okay, right? We're all into our own thing. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Naomi.
Thanks, Katie. Such a lovely intro. I really appreciate that Wellness invited me to come give this talk, especially surrounding around goals. And it's the new year, new me, right? So I feel like a lot of individuals are making goals related to that. And we're just going to talk a little bit more about how to make sure we really create some guidelines on how to succeed. So we'll just keep going. And at any point, I want anybody on this call to know that if you want to stand during this Zoom call, go for it. I am the fitness person. I know that it can be a little much sitting all the time. So if you want to stand or move around and listen to this presentation, I am cool with that. And if you want to turn your video camera on, that's great as well. So let's get started. So Katie talked a little bit about my position. She read my bio, which is great. Currently, I'm overseeing the personal training and fitness floor spaces. And along with that, I teach a NASM personal training course. So we'll dive a little bit deeper into those specific offerings that we have at NC State. But it's been really nice to have the chance to work with such great professionals at Wellness and Recreation, and we just put up our brand new facility, so we'll take a little time to talk about that as well. So our objectives for today are to outline some strategies that you can make to create sustainable life changes when it comes to physical activity, exercise, working out, all that good stuff. Learning some components of well-rounded personal fitness programming. So I'll talk about and give you some tips and tricks of how to create your own personal fitness program. And then lastly, learn some resources that the Wellness and Recreation Center has for you. And just so you know, if you haven't been in the space, we have a brand new facility, and we are currently offering more than ever. And even with the pandemic, we are doing absolutely our best to make sure that users feel safe and comfortable in the spaces. And if they don't want to come in, we have virtual options for you as well. So I want to take it some time to kind of just show you and give you a glimpse of the new Wellness and Recreation Center. And if you've seen this video already, it's really quick. So just take some time, and here you go. Oh no. So as you can see, we're just really showing a lot of the different programs that we have. We have a Well Rec at Home. I will share this video with you all. I think some people are having some issues with the audio, but this will just give you a good visual glimpse at what's happening. And it was just really quick. So I'll share that with you all so that you can have it, but really just wanted to make sure that you got a good idea. And if you haven't driven past Carmichael, it looks beautiful. Great. So let's keep moving on. I'm sorry for those of you that mentioned that you could not hear the audio. We'll make sure to share that with you. Oops. All right, so for me being the fitness person here, I always like to start some presentations off with quick movement break. So if you want to take some time, and you can either stand or you can sit, but we're just going to take a moment to reach for the ceiling. So take hands straight up in the air. You can bring that head up, chin up as well, and just reach for the ceiling. Nice stretch. Then we're going to take it to the right side. My right, your left. And then over to the opposite side. Awesome. Take a second here. We're going to do a couple quick neck roll circles just to kind of loosen some things up. I know it's been great, utilizing our Zoom and our laptops and our phones, but sometimes our neck muscles get a little bit tight. Let's go ahead and move in the opposite direction this time. Great work. Nice. And lastly, what I like to do before we get right into all the meat of this presentation is take 2 deep breaths. So in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. And kind of let those shoulders relax. Inhale through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. Good. Shake it out a little bit. Awesome. Just a quick movement break, but feel free to stand throughout this presentation if you'd like to as well. All right, so we mentioned and we talked quickly about this new year, new me. I'm going to throw out a poll. Has anybody created any New Year's resolutions? Katie, can you throw that poll out for me? Perfect. And then if you have, is your goal fitness and wellness related? And we'll give you a second to do that. I know right now is a very, very popular time to make those New Year resolution goals. And we'll be talking about some ways that can help you succeed and help you adhere to those goals. And really just find that peace and give yourself some grace sometimes if you don't always get to meet that goal, or how we can restructure that if needed. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Wow, look at that. Look at that. That is great. So I've seen that majority of people make a New Year's resolution this year. And I think it's probably pretty popular, especially this year with 2020. But I think I always like to mention like December is typically when the gym slows down, but then January is when people pick right back up, which is great. I love seeing the motivation, and we'll give you guys some tips and tricks on how to adhere to those. And then, is your New Year's goal fitness and wellness related? And if you want to drop in the chat what your goal is, I'm more than happy to see that. That would be great. It might give some other people some ideas as well. But really, that's nice. Most goals do surround around fitness and wellness. And let's touch base on how we can kind of create those and make those sustainable. So, tips to set healthy goals. So, a big reason, and sometimes maybe specifically why somebody might not succeed with their New Year's resolution goal, is because they really don't have a framework for it. So, what I like to push for any individual or client that I work with is focusing on making smarter goals. So, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, that typically have a time bound. So, not just like I want to run faster, but for why, when do you want to, how quick do you want to run? And then also I like to add evaluate and readjust. So that gives you the time to kind of really learn and see how you can continue to grow with your goals. So something that I just want to give an example. So if you wanted to lose weight, you can talk about the specific amount of weight that you'd like to lose. And a good amount of time. So typically it's safe to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Anything more than that can be a little bit unhealthy. And then we just wanted to, I like to throw that out there just to be realistic. About 1 to 2 pounds per week is what is a safe, reasonable amount of weight to lose. And then if you notice the goal, I want to lose 15 pounds in 2 months in order to lower my blood pressure by eating healthy and meeting with a certified personal trainer every week. That is a great that's a great goal because it kind of brings everything into account. And then when you say every week or even that 2 months, that gives you the chance to look at it again, see if you hit your goal or see if you need to readjust some things so that it can be easier the next time you set that goal. Awesome. I see these great goals rolling in. That is so amazing. And I think something to really focus on with tips to set healthy goals is seeking support. If you create a goal and say it's specifically fitness and wellness related, make sure you discuss that with your family and friends. That might help you keep on track and it might help keep you accountable. And not only that, it will maybe make them a little bit more supportive. So if you are trying to lose weight or if you are trying to eat healthier, having that conversation with them ahead of time is going to allow them to keep an eye on what they're doing. That way there aren't any set triggers, or just so that they know, so they're not like, wait, what's going on? And really that's going to make it easier for you as well. I love saying this, take it one day at a time. It's so easy to think way beyond and see like, oh yes, that's what I'll look like, or that's how strong I'll be, or that's how fast I'll be. But take it one day at a time. Focus on the little things that you've been seeing, right? If you could do an extra push-up, if you can run a little bit longer, right? Those are things that will help you to continue to stay on track. And then I like to say, pick an internal goal, something that you are passionate about. I think it's really easy to look at like an Instagram or Facebook and say, well, I want to look like that person, or I want to be quick like that person, or whatever the goal might be. And that's more of an external goal where you're looking at what other people are doing and trying to make sure that you're on the same track. But what I like to say is pick an internal goal, something that you're passionate about, something like, I want to be able to try to be consistent at the gym. That's a great goal. And do the best that you can. And then having a journal or workout notebook is going to keep you on track. And I really love a workout notebook or journal because once you hit your goal, you can go back and see all the awesome works, the ups and downs, but you still got there. And that's such a great feeling. And you could always use it and see what worked and be able to reevaluate if maybe you didn't hit the goal on time or something you had a hiccup or here or there. Great. Oh man, I love this. All these goals around swimming, all that good stuff. Love it. So additionally, some common fitness goals that I typically see as a personal trainer and a personal training coordinator is to get strong, to gain muscle, improve performance. And that doesn't mean just athletically. That can mean like being able to feel good going up and down the stairs and reduce stress. That's a huge one that I see. And fitness does do that. And it allows you to calm down and be present and manage mental health is definitely a common fitness goal. I think nutrition, mental health, and fitness really go hand in hand. That's that overall wellness. And another goal that I often see is just moving more throughout the day. I see a lot of individuals get Fitbits or watches and just make sure maybe set a timer on their phone and get up every so often. And that's a great way to remind yourself to get up and just do a little bit of movement because as you may know, like being on Zoom and being at home, sometimes it can be easy to sit for a long period of time. And even if you're coming into work driving, that's a lot of sitting as well, depending on how long your commute is. My own personal tips, I wanted to include this. Oh yes, I love this one quick that Jennifer just kind of threw out to everybody. She keeps sneakers. So it's so easy to get up and go outside. That is wonderful. Yes. And so some quick tips that I have is learn to love the process, right? Say you decide to set a goal. It's fitness and wellness related. And I think it can be something that like if you were not to hit it, or if you feel like you might have stumbled a day or you couldn't get to the gym one day, it's really, you commonly see people just give up. And that's not what we want to do. We want to learn to love the process. If you missed a day, and we have hiccups and we're all human. So think about like, what did you learn? How could have you rearranged your schedule to make it a little bit easier for you? And how are you prioritizing some things? And then consistency is, and not perfection. You're gonna have ups and downs, but if you throughout 3 months, 4 months, this entire year, really make it a point to come to the gym or get that workout in or get out to move a little bit or go swimming. And just keep that goal in the back of your mind. It's okay if there's a slip up. You just keep going. You will see results. I often have talked to clients of mine who were like, oh no, I missed a day. I guess I just have to restart. I'm like, no, if you are consistent enough, missing one day is not going to it's not going to make a big impact on your body or muscle mass or how strong you are. Missing one day might give you that chance to relax and de-stress. What happens though is if you beat yourself up about it, that's where it can be a little bit more of a issue. Like if you forget it, or if you couldn't make it in, or you couldn't do something one day, that's okay. Give yourself that grace and keep moving. And remember, exercise and movement are not punishment. It's not something that you do because you ate a dessert last night, right? It's a good balance. You don't need to earn your food with exercise or fitness or working out. Really just make sure that you're focused on getting that movement in, and because you love yourself and you're making that a priority to take care of yourself. Just like you would take care of a car or your family or all the other people or things that you care about, take care of yourself too. I think that's something as professionals we can forget about, because we're helping so many students, we're helping other professionals, we're helping our families, we're taking care of things throughout the day. And think about, with this specifically, think about yourself. You care about yourself, and in order to help others, you need to take care of yourself. So don't punish yourself. Get that movement in because you enjoy it. Set that goal because you want to do it. Make that internal goal so that you can achieve it. Those are just some of my tips and tricks and what I've seen that's worked for me and what I've seen has worked for clients as well. Good job. So I'm going to throw out another poll. What are your barriers to exercise? I think this is really important before we go about talking about how to set a routine. So the first question, what is your biggest barrier for exercise? Second one is, how much time should you aim completing physical activity or exercise?
Y'all, I went ahead and launched the poll, but it's saying you all cannot see them, and I'm not sure why. Oh, now it looks like you're voting. All right, perfect. If just drop in the chat if you're having any technical problems with the poll. Alan says he sees it. Perfect.
Yeah, this is great. That's something with personal training clients and even my students, we talk about what are some barriers that we have to make ourselves a little bit more consistent. And I think just looking at it right now, time is that big one. So we'll talk about some strategies on how to make that a little bit easier when starting a new exercise goal or even a program. Awesome. We'll stop sharing that right now. Awesome. Great work, team. So I see time looks like it's the biggest barrier for you all. Lack of energy, family obligations, lack of support. And then as far as physical activity, I see 150 minutes of physical activity per week. That is the correct answer. And we'll get right into all of that. Great. So I'll talk about just the heavy hitters here. There's a lot, and we'll be sharing this presentation with you. But lack of time seems to be something that I hear all clients, any professionals I talk to, be the reason why. So if you can identify some time slots a week in advance or earlier to kind of make sure that you don't miss out on those. I know something that I do, going from checking on the fitness floor to personal training to maybe helping with group fitness, this and that, I make sure to send, select and have Google Calendar invites for myself. So whether it's time for me to eat or whether it's time for me to get up and move a little bit or put in my own workout, I like to schedule those things because as like we wouldn't miss a meeting, an important meeting, that's how I like to treat it. And that way it's planned ahead of time. You found that time ahead and you're prepared for it. And that way you can make sure that you have the things that you need, maybe pack a bag in your car or have some running shoes or walking shoes. You can plan for that ahead of time. Another one that I really feel that people struggle with is that lack of energy and motivation. Some suggestions that I have are: one, join an exercise group or class, or maybe reach out to a buddy that you know also wants to work on a fitness and wellness related goal and see if they'd be interested in working out with you. And I know right now it's a little bit tough with the pandemic and a lot of virtual streaming. We do allow individuals to come into the facility and work out. We like to keep that 6 feet of distance at all time, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't go to a group fitness class and still be engaged and have that community there. That's a great resource. And we also have virtual. And so that's something that you can consider, or even just going on a walk. That's a great thing too. Once you kind of plan that out and set that time aside for yourself and kind of write down that goal and make it real, I typically find that most people have that as a motivation. And if you ask a friend to come with you or sign up for a trainer, that's going to definitely keep you more accountable. And then the other one that I noticed is family obligations. Bring your kids and your children and your family to come with you. Try exercising while kids are maybe not around, maybe while they're sleeping early in the morning, or maybe once you put them to bed, something that works for you. I think that it can be easy to get in our head that we have to do it at specific times and that that's something that just needs to be done for ourselves, but everybody's individual and you're going to want to pick something that works for your schedule and your life. And that way you can still be able to have all of those family obligations, but make some time for you and your family. So just tips and tricks to keep in mind. I'll share, this will be sent out so you can have a little bit more idea. And we also added a little quiz so that you can see what might be the biggest barrier for you. So guidelines for success after talking about those barriers, right? We talked about 150 minutes of moderate physical activity per week. So I know 150 minutes can seem a little daunting. And remember, this is something that's recommended, but if you break it down, if you walk about 30 minutes a day, like you can can hit that pretty quickly Monday through Friday. And another thing too is you can do 10-minute bouts. And another thing with physical activity, that doesn't mean just going to the gym and lifting weights. That can be going on a walk, going for a swim, taking your kids out to the park, mowing your lawn. Those are all included. And I wouldn't put too much pressure on like exactly getting it down to the minute, 150 minutes, but just getting some sort of movement throughout the day, if that's your goal. And my big thing is movement versus exercise. I know I'm exercise person, but I really like to use the word movement because exercise is referred to planned, structured, intentional time. So that's coming in, working out, setting that time aside, but movement's anything. And the nice thing about movement is that it doesn't really restrict you. You can get up, go upstairs, go downstairs, go on a walk, instead of driving to maybe something nearby, like a grocery store or a park, you walk there, right? And so I think that's something that I always like to bring it back down to earth. I think exercise can be something that seems really, really structured and planned, but movement, just aim for that. And I think really at Wellness and Recreation, we like to use the term movement because it doesn't limit us. It can be anything from dancing to walking. And it also includes exercise as well. So all of those things are checked on that list. So just in the chat, what's your favorite way to move your body? I know we did a little bit stretching earlier in the session, but I wanted to get a good idea of what's your favorite way. I saw some swimming, I saw some walking, anything else? Kayaking, that's great. Yoga, yes. Perfect, great. And that's one of those things that we like to say is all individual. And even with my personal trainers, I teach them that everybody's different. We don't want to just put them into a little box. We want to make sure that we're aiming for what makes the most sense for them.
So Nay, we have some really great ideas in the chat. I see quite a few yoga, kayaking is an awesome one, a lot of walking and a lot of jogging. We also have sports like tennis. And then on the exercise front, like myself, I like to lift weights. I see TRX, jazzercise, spin, playing golf. So it seems like we've got a lot of really great ideas of things we like to do for exercise and then things we just enjoy doing to move our body and have fun.
That's awesome. That is so great. That is really good to see. And I love that you guys are already ahead of it because with any of these movements, whether it's kayak, yoga, walking, jogging, you're gonna work on benefiting your physical health. You're gonna increase your energy. The more you do it, the more energy you're gonna have for next time. You're gonna have a better mood, some better sleep, and that's very important when working out. And then your mental health is going to be a little bit smoother, and then you're going to reduce some stress. So an overall increase in total well-being. So excited about that. Now, we mentioned this a little bit before, with sedentary, what does that mean? Like sitting and not moving a lot. So we talked about like how typically that can be like a pretty easy goal to have, is just to include some more movement, especially during this time, right? If you are coming into work, you might be driving. So you're sitting on the way to work, then you're also coming to work and you might have to work on your laptop solely for maybe about, 4 to 5, 6, 8 hours. And then you drive home. And if you're tired, you could also sit down. And that's once you get home. So I didn't want to put this out there to scare anybody, but I did want to say, like, just be pretty mindful of anything. And if you feel like you're not entirely sure of what your goal should be, making it a fact of, okay, I just want to include some more movement. And some tricks for this is setting a little timer or putting a little Google Calendar invite to remind you to move every so often. That's something that's really great.
And Alan's recommended to me, this might be a good time for a movement break. So if you want to stretch, get up, stand up, whatever you need to do, this I'm going to personally stretch a little bit.
And I think that, and kind of bring it back into it, like we're in this seated position a lot. And I think, and we'll talk about like some tips and tricks of how to make this a little bit easier on our bodies. I think one thing that we can do is just like making sure that you sit up tall and then bend, then sit up tall, just kind of including some of those movements. And I find myself too, even as a fitness person, like catching myself doing this and pulling it back. Like, okay, all right. And if I am doing that, and if you have the ability to make a sitting desk, a standing desk, or even I like to kneel sometimes if I'm at home working, just so that you're not in the same position all the time. But if you don't move, it can really, really lead to some things that are a little scary. And what we want to do is just trying to push you to continue to move as much as you can. So how, right? Building that program. How are we going to do this, Now you keep talking about all these things and all these barriers, and all these goals, how to set these goals, but how do we get to that, right? So now that you know how to set your goal, I'm going to show you how to kind of work through a program. And I think the first thing is I won't go too deep into this, but try at first setting the time to assess your fitness level. Right? I think it's really easy to take your own pulse. If you are measuring your pulse at any time, make sure that you use these 2 fingers versus your thumb. And the reason why we don't want to use our thumb is because we actually have a pulse within our thumb. You can feel it. So you can do that right now if you'd like to test it out. But typically try to assess your fitness level by taking your resting heart rate and going for an entire minute. So counting those beats. And then a quick way to see what your max heart rate is taking 220 and then subtracting your age. So if you're 20 years old, right, 220 minus 20, 200 would be about your max heart rate. So you can do that on your own. That's a fun tip so that if you're ever running, you can check that really quickly and see, okay, I'm not like 100%, like I can go a little bit more heart rate wise. And so these are really quick things that you can do on your own. I wanted to include some things that you could do by yourself, like either at home or just outside, where you could do some push-ups and just take that time to write those things down and record them. And if you need more assistance on that, we actually have assessments that are available at the Wellness and Recreation Center. So components of a well-rounded fitness program. We typically want to see a little bit of these 3 things: cardio, exercise, resistance-based training, and then flexibility and balance. Those are three of the big things that we want to see in a well-rounded fitness program. One thing I like to bring up is we want to make sure that the movements that we include are within all different types of planes of motion. So going from twisting is one plane, going forward and backward is one plane, and then going from side to side. So doing like a jumping jack is another plane. So typically professionals like ourselves are in that forward and back plane, because we stand up and then we walk, then we sit down, and then we stand up again, and then we walk. So what are some ways that you can include some more of those diverse movements so that we're not just going forward and back, right? Doing some twist, right? That's a good stretch. Or even doing some side lunges like that. Those are great. Squats are also great as well, Alan. Lunges, yes, I love seeing it. My people. So I wanted to include some exercise terminology. We won't go too deep into it, but I think the 2 most popular things that people might not really entirely know about are reps and sets, right? How many repetitions? So that is the movement of the exercise, how many you're doing. So for instance, if you're doing a bicep curl and you're doing them 10 times, that's 1 rep, 2 rep, 3 rep. And then your set is any group of movements, and then you take a break and then you do another one. So 2 sets would be doing 10 bicep curls, taking a break, and then let's get into the next set by doing 10 more bicep curls. So it's just common exercise terminology that you might hear people talk about a lot. And that's a good way to kind of work through that, thinking about, okay, I want to make sure I get a good enough break and a rest as well. So sets and breaking up those repetitions is a great way to do that. Nice. So components of a workout, really important here. Warm up. Just like you would warm up your car when you're about to go to work or go somewhere on a very, very, very cold day. I know I'm from Ohio, went to the University of Cincinnati, and we would have to turn on our car for a little bit, let it warm up before we could drive anywhere just to keep it safe. You need to do the same thing with your body. It's going to reduce injury, it's going to reduce soreness, and it's going to allow you to feel a little bit more prepared and less stiff when moving. So even if it's going for a walk, taking some time to shake it out, maybe doing some dynamic or static stretching. And then if you have the ability to have a foam roller or maybe even a tennis ball, that's something easy that you can use at home, you can roll out on that, and that can get your body ready to go. One thing I like to say is specificity. So if you know you're going to be doing movements like squatting, or let's say spinning or kayaking, let's pick some warm-up movements that are going to get you ready for that. So for kayaking, right, got a lot of this movement going on. Arm circles are going to be very helpful. For squatting, leg swings might be very helpful. So just take that extra step and think like, okay, if I'm going to be doing this type of movement, how can I get my body set and prepared? Now, breaking it into the working part of your workout or your movement or your exercise. And this is specific if you're trying to work on strength. Now, I know at the gym, there's a lot of different weights. You can also do this at home. I think that you can grab anything that you have around. I've even seen a couple of my friends, they'll use their kiddos to help them. They can use them for squats, or they'll help press them, all that good stuff. So it's really nice to see how creative we've been able to get during the pandemic. But during this working phase, this is where you're going to build most of your strength and endurance. And progressions are going to be something that's important as well, and consistency. So if you are, let's talk about push-ups for a second. If we're doing push-ups and it gets really easy to do 5 push-ups, in order to get better and get more, you might either, one, make it a little bit harder by maybe doing push-ups on your toes or doing more push-ups. And that's what a progression is, to help keep you, give you the ability to continue to adapt, because our bodies are very smart. And they will catch up and they'll say, oh, we're walking today. All right, let's make this a little bit easier. And how can you make that harder and continue to progress? So that's just something that to think about. And as far as resistance training goes, and any components of a workout, like think about, you can use body weight movements, you can use different types of weights, you can use resistance bands, and there's cardio equipment all over the Wellness and Recreation Center, or even outside. Outside is great to use as well. So things to keep in mind. Now, what I like to say is at any point, if we are starting an exercise program where we're going to be lifting more or we're going to be running more, make sure to keep a good eye on how many calories that you're bringing in. We want to continue to keep that energy up. In order to do that, if you're going to go from not working out to working out or doing movement, make sure we have that energy. Your body still needs that fuel, which is food. So make sure we don't just stop eating entirely just because we want to start this program. And then training guide. So let's say we're focused specifically on lifting weights. Now, if you're lifting weights or if you're doing squats or any types of repetitions, if you're aiming to be in the 1 to 5 range, that's going to be a super dense muscle that you're going to build. And if you have heavier weight and you keep your repetitions about 1 to 5, that's going to be very helpful to continue with that goal. Once you get to the point where you're doing 6 to 12 reps, that's going to allow you to have a little bit more muscular endurance and power and strength. And that you might see I like to call it the pump, right? So if you do about 12 reps of bicep curls, you'll see that pump kind of show up. And then 12 plus range is typically endurance. So I saw that we had a couple of people that might have done like an Ironman or like to run and or even like to do maybe Spartan races. That's going to allow you to keep moving and keep going.
Nay, I have a question.
Of course.
So let's say you're just somebody trying to, be more active, you're interested in, starting to lift weights, but you're just trying to get healthier overall and stronger and fit overall, what should somebody start at?
Yeah, so if you're trying to starting off, I think it can be really easy to start with doing some more specific body weight movements, something that includes every major muscle group. So think of our major muscle groups being our chest, our pecs, our back, our legs, right? Think of just those things, and then our arms. What are some things that we can do to keep moving on that? And we will share some materials and resources to allow you to kind of go step by step to get that, and start slow, right? So we want to make sure that we don't just jump right into using the heaviest weight. We want to make our way into this, because remember, this is really about adherence. How can we keep up with this? And consistency is key. And learning how to do those movements will come. And that's something that we provide all different types of resources at Wellness and Recreation for that. Does that answer your question? Great. So for the cool down, that last component of our workout, we want to make sure we have that. And that's really just so that we can bring that heart rate back down. So you know how I talked about keeping a good idea of like what your resting heart rate was before you work out? We want to do the same thing at the end. We want to make sure that our heart rate lowers, at least I like to say below 100 before we completely stop doing anything. That's a great way to kind of gauge whether you can just go from doing all this work to just sitting down. And the reason I say that is if you go from moving to stopping, that can, one, increase fainting. It can also make injury, and then it will also make you not feel the best. So having the chance to slowly cool down, whether it means walking slowly for about 5 to 10 minutes or shaking it out or foam rolling, that's going to be something that's going to help you stay with that adherence. Nice. So prioritizing and making time. So what tips do you use to add more movement to your day? Does anybody have any tips and tricks that they have on their own that they've been doing throughout this time? And you can add it into the chat. I'll keep moving with mine, but you're more than welcome to keep adding some things. So some tips to keep an active lifestyle at home or at work is keep moving throughout the day. We talked about this, taking some breaks to move away from your area. I like to keep a water bottle nearby, because what I find is the more water that you drink, the more likely you're like, oh, I need to go use the restroom. And that gets you up and moving. And taking stretching breaks and movement breaks, because we don't really want to stay too long. So some exercises that you can do, I've kind of showed here, are some shoulder shrugs that you can do just while sitting. You can do some desk swivels. And then I like to do some desk squats from sitting to just standing up, back to sitting, which is really great because it just reminds you of like, okay, yes, I got my body moving for a second. Great. And I see that Alan had mentioned like meal prepping. That is fantastic. If you take some time ahead of the week and do that, that's going to make you a little bit more prepared and have you on track for the rest of the week, especially if it's something healthy, right? If you forget your lunch or if you're rushing, it might be something where you're like, okay, well, maybe let's grab something really quick so at least I eat. But that's a great tip. Thanks, Alan. Cool. And you guys all know this, but continue to focus on making sure that we keep these tips and tricks, like relaxing the shoulders when we're working, monitor at eye level, keep that keyboard at elbow height, and then adjust your seat so that you are able to feel that lower back support. So those are some tips and tricks that you can use while at home, while at work. But just a reminder, when we're starting an exercise program or we're starting a goal, and it's based around fitness and movement, we want to make sure that we're trying to follow with those things in our daily work because we're changing it into a lifestyle. Now, I wanted to provide some resources that Wellness and Recreation also has. So we have WellRec at home, and if you haven't already used it or downloaded our Wellness and Recreation app, please do so. So many different opportunities ranging from group fitness classes to climbing wall, to outdoor adventures, and then even personal training as well. And the nice thing about WellRec at Home is that you can go to our YouTube page and you can actually find all these different types of videos that we've created, like wellness tips, Wolfpack field day, climbing training, and then WellRec on demand, which is really just exercise workouts. And we do have the app available that has a link to all of these, to our wellness and recreation YouTube page and all of the other resources that we have online. And you can download that either on the App Store, and then we also have it available for Androids. So that's great too. So, like you noticed, I shared a little bit about the wellness and recreation, the new facility, and it is beautiful. It is so awesome. It's one of those spaces that I'm like, wow, I can't believe like we really have been working all this time to get this up and running. And it's been nice to see it go through, and it's been great to have students starting to use the space and faculty members as well. And so I just want to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what we have to offer. So we have over 155,000 square feet of fitness spaces. So anywhere from outdoor spaces, I don't know if you guys know this, we've utilized some of our courts to put more fitness equipment up there, like cardio equipment. And myself and Katie actually worked on building some of those pods so we could keep members safe. So just so that you know, we are doing the best that we can and really making it a place where anybody can feel comfortable coming into the space, and just so pretty. I'm so proud of our team. Wolfpack bubble, yes. So personal training options, we have in-person, outdoor, and virtual. These are some things that I was like, yes, we need to be able to make sure we offer for anybody so that they can feel comfortable. We've done a great job of creating little circles on our field so that if you wanted to join a small group, or if you wanted to do semi-private where you and a buddy were training together, we have those already outlined. And the nice thing about personal training is that we have all different types of sessions and packages, and our most popular is our fall and spring semester pass. So what does that mean? That means you can sign up for personal training and you will have 3 sessions per week for about 16 weeks until the end of the semester. And the nice thing about that is it keeps you consistent. And if you're struggling to pick out a goal, or if you have a goal in mind, but you need that accountability piece, our trainers are here to work with you to help you get to that. Great. And then fitness assessments. We talked about doing your own personal fitness assessment, which is a great option. But if you wanted something a little bit more in depth, we have fitness assessments that can be offered in person, outdoor, and virtual. We also have this new InBody, which does a great job of kind of breaking down, like if you ever were to have an injury, say for instance, if maybe you twisted your ankle and you weren't able to move for a long time, this InBody does a great job because you can stand on it and it can tell you like, oh, you have more muscle in this leg versus this leg. It's a really cool feature, and it gives you a good way to start, and it gives you a baseline. And it's nice to have so that you can always go back and see like, wow, this is how much I've improved. And whether it's not weight wise, but maybe muscle wise, because I think that's something that I always like to push to our clients is whether maybe you didn't lose weight, but you might have gained muscle, because muscle weighs more than fat. And that's something that you also feel strong doing as well. So the InBody can show that pretty specifically. And we have all the different spaces as well that we can do in fitness assessments. So I do see a question, do we have to make appointments to use the gym? Yes, we do. That's a good thing about it is we're trying to make sure that any individual coming into the space, we have capacity limits. So there's never too many individuals in one space. And so for personal training, if you were deciding to get a personal trainer, all you would need to do is sign up for personal training, and your personal trainer actually makes those reservations for you. So you don't have to worry about it. You just tell them the time that you want to train. They make sure that they get those scheduled out. And then becoming a fitness leader. If you are interested in learning more about becoming a personal trainer, a group fitness instructor, or just want to learn a little bit more for yourself, we have those options and courses available at the Wellness and Recreation Center. Such a great way to just learn about how can I make a more specific exercise program. Great. And then what I did want to bring up is our small group training and group fitness options. We have a number of different classes. We have Stronger and Premium Boxing actually running this semester. And so if you want to get, we talked a little bit earlier about how one way to get motivated is signing up for a course or a new type of skill and learning how to do that as well. So in group fitness, those are free with your membership. So if you were to sign up to become a member at the Wellness and Recreation Center, we actually have a number of 95 plus group fitness classes. And even though you might not want to come in person, we have that virtual option as well. They can be streamed, and there's within that Wellness and Recreation app, you can click on it, start your class. They're over Zoom, and you can find a space in your home to do that as well. Maybe even do it with your kids. Sweet. We will actually go through here. We have group fitness classes going from body pump, which is great, bar burn. And remember, right now we have all of our instructors and users wearing their masks within this facility. So all of our classes are really safe, and we keep that distance, and they have capacity limits as well. So none of our users are going to be super close to one another, which is great. Great. So just to kind of end us off, I wanted to see if there was any specific questions that you all had. And I wanted to give you a chance to kind of throw something in the chat that you might have learned today that might have not been something that you were thinking about, or maybe a way or strategic way that could help you focus on your goal. But yeah, I just wanted to let you open it up to the group and allow you to mention anything that you might have learned or what movement you might be planning on doing this week. I really did appreciate taking the time to talk through different types of barriers and goal setting, especially revolving around fitness and wellness. I know it can be something that can seem overwhelming, but the nice thing about a fitness and wellness goal is that you can take it step by step, and you can continue to progress. There's always a progression, and there's ways to gain support within your community and within the wellness and recreation community. So we really look forward to seeing you. And if at any point there are any questions, my contact information is here. So feel free to shoot me an email. I'd be happy to chat with all of you. We will be providing some resources as well. So I'll be giving out a quick sample workout. And so be on a lookout for your email. We'll send that out, and we were excited to have you here. Now I'm going to look through, I think we got some questions.
Yeah. We have a question for you, Nav, about any free online classes.
Yes. So we have free group fitness classes, and then starting next week, we have, it's called Free Week. So if you were interested in taking an F45 class, or which is a training class similar to like a HIIT style, and then or like boxing or Strong Her, which Strong Her is a female specific session where you can learn how to use a barbell and learn some more strength movements and get women comfortable with having weights in their hands, which is really empowering. But yes, we do have some free options, group fitness specifically. All of those are free. Anything else, Katie?
Not seeing too much more. Also, as a reminder too, WellRec at Home is open to anybody. You don't need to have a membership to utilize those videos that Naomi shared. And of course, that'll be also included in our email that I send out later today. But of course, if anybody has any questions, there's Naomi's email. You'll get an email from me today too. We are happy to answer any and all questions that you might have. But I do want to just say thank you to Naomi for being here today. It was a great presentation. I think we all learned a lot. I know I'm excited to get moving more and more this year as well. But everyone be on the lookout later today for that email. And we'll also include a link to next month's Power Lunch in February about cultural competency. So we think that'll be a really great one as well. So thank you so much to everyone for joining us. We were always excited to see some new and familiar faces. So we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and stay warm out there.
I had a question. I mean, I wanted to say something.
Of course.
Oh, yeah, I want to leave? I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
So no, as I work under facilities, and we're about to start our process of getting healthy and well, and we're going to utilize you guys to help us out. So if anybody has a department or wants your group to come, I'm freezing up, I'm sorry. If any department wants to use your group to come in to do some personalized or help with health and wellness.
Yes.
I'm sorry I froze up. My internet is not.
No worries. We do have options. We have.
So that's all I want.
Yeah, of course. And we have private group training where if specifically you had a group that wanted to focus on a goal together, or maybe you wanted to include some more mindful movement like a yoga class or mind body class, that is something that we have to offer. We'll make sure to share that resource, but that is session based. So if you wanted to come in 4 sessions throughout the entire semester, we could do that for you. We get an instructor or a trainer that can specifically work with your group, and we would touch base with you and your team to see what you really need so that we can provide you with the best resources. Thanks, Alan.
All right, y'all. Well, I hope everyone has a great week. It's looking pretty nice outside now. So I know some of you are saying it's a little cold, go for a walk, but now might be the time, not too bad. So again, feel free to reach out to us. I know everybody says that, but we really are here for you all. And we really always appreciate y'all coming by. So hope y'all have a movement focused day. Yeah. Get on out there.
Thanks, Katie, for monitoring the chat and being here for us. I really appreciated talking with Wellness and connecting with you all and collaborating. So if you all have any questions, feel free to reach out.